Anyway, I could just hear my heart in these words, and I thought somebody else might need this encouragement too, so I wanted to share this with you. I'll just read you the psalm and then share with you just the little tidbits that I got out of it for myself, and also just to encourage you with this. He says, I cry out to God, yes, I shout. Oh, that God would listen to me. When I was in deep trouble, I searched for the Lord. All night long I prayed with my hands lifted toward heaven, but my soul was not comforted. I think of God and I moan, overwhelmed with the longing for his help. Doesn't this sound familiar? You don't let me sleep. I am too distressed even to pray. Verse 5, I think of the good old days, long since ended, when my nights were filled with joyful songs. I search my soul and ponder the difference now. Has the Lord rejected me forever? Will he never again be kind to me? Is his unfailing love gone forever? Has his promises permanently failed? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he slammed the door on his compassion? And I said, this is my fate. The Most High has turned his hand against me. I'm just going to pause right there before we get to the good part, which is the second half. And I can so relate to this, and I know that many of you can as well, where you are going through something in your life, and maybe it's a big thing, maybe it's a tiny thing, but it's something that's causing you anguish in your heart and in your soul, and it's giving you anxiety, and you're stressed out about it, and you need this problem solved. And so you're at that place where you're crying out to God. You're pouring out your heart. You lift your hands toward heaven. It's like that picture of desperate prayer where you're really going to him and running to him and giving him everything and saying, Lord, I need your help. I need your help. But your soul just is not being comforted. And I can relate to this just going through sickness in the last few years of my life. It's like there were times where I was struggling physically so bad that I remember sitting on the floor just crying and praying and asking God to please heal me. Please send answers, because the doctors had no answers. There was no answer. The only one that could answer was Jesus. And in James it says that if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach. And so I was crying out to him. I was like, Lord, your word says this. I know I need your help. And it was almost like I wasn't getting the answers. And so the question here is, why was he in such anguish? And this is the heart that I hear is saying, God, are you even listening? I'm crying out to you, and yet I still can't even sleep. And he says, I'm too distressed to even pray. And I know that feels like, and I know you feels like, or sometimes you just don't even have the words. You're so overwhelmed, you're too distressed. And he says, why haven't my circumstances changed? And so you hear this praying and praying and crying out. And that's why he begins to question God. Lord, have you rejected me forever? Is your love gone? Are your promises failed? Have you forgotten to be gracious to me? And it's like, God, are you even listening? And what would make him think that God wasn't listening is that his circumstances weren't changing. He's praying and he's crying out, and he doesn't have peace at night and he can't sleep, which is a gift from the Lord to have peace and be able to sleep. And he can't even pray. He's so stressed out. And now he's wondering if God's even listening because his circumstances haven't changed. And I was thinking, man, we can totally relate to this. How many times have you been in that place in your life where it's just like, are you even there, God? Do you even care about this? Are my prayers doing anything? Are you even listening? Why hasn't my situation changed? Why hasn't my circumstances changed? Why haven't you set me free from this? And this is the part that I thought was awesome. And the question for number 4 was, how did he find relief? So we're going to read that part because it's so important and powerful. Verse 11, Psalm 77, verse 11. But, there's always the but, right? But then I recall all that you have done. I recall all that you have done, O Lord. I remember your wonderful deeds of long ago. I remember. They are constantly in my thoughts. I cannot stop thinking about your mighty works. So what does he do to get himself off the cliff of questioning if God even still loves him, if God's even still listening, if God has forgotten him and his promises have ended, if he's abandoned him, if he doesn't care, why hasn't his situation changed? And he goes and he looks back at what God has done in the past and says, I remember when you took care of me then. I remember when you provided for your people then. I remember when you redeemed Israel. I remember when you parted the Red Sea. I remember when you did all these powerful things in my life. I remember the last time I was broken and stuck in a situation that I thought I would never get out of. And then one day I was out of it because of you, because you helped me. You helped me get through it. And he starts to remember. I remember your wonderful deeds of long ago. Verse 12. They are constantly in my thoughts. I cannot stop thinking about your mighty works. Oh God, your ways are holy. Now he's going to begin to recount the ways. The Bible says that we enter his courts, we enter his gates, the gates of the king, with thanksgiving, and we enter his courts with praise. How do we enter the presence of God? What is a proper way to enter? With thanksgiving and with praise. And here he begins to give thanks and praise through recalling how awesome God is, what he has done before. And all of a sudden, as you start to say that, even as I'm starting to say it now, it's like I could just feel the spirit of heaviness just starts to lift off of you, and your hope begins to be strengthened and revived, and you begin to get courage to just keep going again because you know who God is. You know who he is, okay? So sometimes we have to stand on what we know is truth, even when our eyes and our circumstances are telling you, give up, it's too late, God doesn't want you, he's abandoned you, he's not strong enough to get you through this, you're going to have to do it on your own. You have to stand on what you know is true about God's character and then proclaim that and keep walking forward. And so verse 14 says, you are the God, verse 13, oh God, your ways are holy. Is there any God as mighty as you? You are the God of great wonders. You demonstrate your awesome power among the nations. By your strong arm, you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. Is this awesome? Talk about love. Talk about reverence. Talk about honor. Just these words are so powerful to me. Verse 16, when the sea saw you, oh God, its waters looked and trembled. Just think about that for a second. Have you ever stood in front of a mighty sea or an ocean? Have you ever swam in it? And just think about how small you are and how powerful that water is, or how big it is. And yet when it looks at God, it trembles. This is the sea quaked to its very depths. The clouds poured down rain. The thunder rumbled in the sky. Your arrows of lightning flashed. Your thunder roared like the whirlwind. The lightning lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. The road led through the sea. Your road led through the sea. Your path through the mighty waters. A pathway no one knew was there. This is super important because this is also, these psalms are words, they're prayers, they're worship, they're also poetry. Okay, there's a lot of symbology in the way they write these, and I just love poetry. Being someone that loves poetry, I really appreciate this psalm so much. You led your people along that road like a flock of sheep with Moses and Aaron as their shepherds. Listen, he's talking about how intense and terrifying the sea, the ocean, the great waters can be, and yet it trembled at the presence of God. It separated itself at the presence of God. And he's saying that God, you made a way through these mighty seas. It was a path that no one saw, yet you laid it there. And you provided a way to get your people through. You shepherded them like sheep and took them through. And I just love that picture of the shepherd and the sheep. And how he leads them with his voice, and he directs them, and he's with them, and he takes care of them, right? He runs after the ones that run off. And so just that safety, and I just love that. So here in the beginning, he's going through this struggle, and he's saying, God, are you even listening? My circumstances haven't changed. Do you even care about me? Do you even love me? I don't even know how to pray. I'm so distressed. I can't sleep at night. And then he turns and remembers, but wait, I am yours. And this is how I know, because you have always taken care of me in the past. You have always provided a way of escape for me when I was tempted. You have always taken care of my needs. You somehow made my food stretch when I didn't have money. You made my gas stretch when I couldn't put gas in my car. Lord, you healed me that time when I was so sick and my babies were dying. I was losing my babies, and you healed my womb, and my babies were saved. Lord, you provided for me through sending a friend to give me this when I needed it. And Lord, you sent me a comforter when I was struggling. And Lord, you start to recount the ways that God has provided. And you remember who he is, and you remember who you are. His daughter, his child, his beloved, who he died for, who he gave his self for. Is that awesome? And he says, behold, look at this, verse 19, Lord, your road led through the sea, your pathway through the mighty waters, a pathway that no one knew was there. No one knew was there. There's a way that God has set to get you through this battle that you don't know is there, but you just keep trusting him. Keep walking and watch and see the Lord do what he does best. Part the Red Sea, do the impossible, and get you through the battle. Amen. It's so awesome! It just super encouraged me this morning, and I just wanted to share this with you because someone else needs to hear this. What is the answer in the midst of the storm that we have no answers to? Recall all that he has done. Remember his wonderful deeds from long ago.